1190 AM NBC News, and the best in specialty programming.
Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us, broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM iHeart Radio Studios and worldwide through yorbamedia.com. Todd Johnson, CEO, HealthLoop, on the show with me today. Todd, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Michael. Thank you for having me.
All right, my pleasure. Todd, you're a serial healthcare information technology entrepreneur, and I want to back up a little bit and let you give me a chance to understand more of your background, let our audience get to know you a little bit better, and then we'll get into HealthLoop and what they do and how what you're doing changes the way doctors talk and follow up with their patients.
Yeah, so I've been in the healthcare information technology field since the late 90s and have had really good fortune to work with some of the nation's leading researchers, academic medical centers, hospitals, in helping to solve some of the problems facing clinicians today. If you look at medicine over the last 60 years, we've become really overwhelmed that the demand for the system is surging, that we're almost reaching a crisis of availability where physician schedules are just absolutely getting crushed. Healthcare systems are becoming overwhelmed, and yet patients aren't seemingly getting the care they need, which really offers a great recipe or a great environment for information technology to come help solve problems for large healthcare systems, individual physicians, and their patients. And I've been fortunate to be in this field, learning a lot and doing a lot to help that cause.
All right, you've got well over, what was it, 36,000? Hold on. How many people have you been in contact through HealthLoop? Yeah, 36,000 electronic visits, right?
Yeah. So just to back up and talk a little bit about what HealthLoop is and what that means is if you look at a macro scale at healthcare today, one thing that we have not been able to figure out how to scale up is the physician-patient relationship. And there's over 1 billion visits each year between patients and their doctors. And the demand on that time is incredible. And so that's why you see, doctors get into the office every day and their schedule is back to back. And the healthcare delivery system has generally been operating under this failed notion that no news is good news. And what I mean by that is if you're sick or if you're injured and you go in and see the doctor, or if you have a procedure done, they do what they can when you're with them. You might get 7 minutes, you might get a few minutes to get educated on what you need to do and what you need to know to get better. But then they discharge you and they send you home with your instructions and they send you home with a plan of what to do. And then nobody knows what happens to you, right? And you're out of sight, out of mind. And then the healthcare system, your doctor's on to the next patient and the next patient. And so it turns out that as patients, when we're sick or injured, there's a lot that we need to know and do to get better. And guess what? We're kind of the least knowledgeable person to get there. And we have a lot of worries and we have a lot of concerns. And because of that, patients fall through the cracks. And patients return to hospitals or they re-injure themselves. They get sick again. And nobody knows until it's too late. So with HealthLoop, when you get discharged from your physician's care, you get enrolled in an automated experience where your doctor checks in with you from day to day, making sure that you're on track, right? Making sure that you're doing everything you need to do to get to that good outcome, and monitoring your progression, making sure that you're on track to get healthy and to get the best outcome possible. And if that's not happening, if you begin to slide off the rails or if something's going wrong, your doctor's notified so that they can reach out to you and make sure they get you back on track before it becomes inconvenient, expensive, or dangerous for you as a patient. And so yeah, we've had over 36,000 what we call medical microvisits. So these completely virtualized visits where physicians are reaching out to their patients in an automated way to understand how they're doing and make sure they stay on track.
Let's get to the mechanics of how that works. We haven't discussed that yet.
Yeah. So if you look at, let's take something simple but frequent like a hip replacement. Orthopedics and total joint replacements is the fastest growing sort of procedural area in medicine, and they're happening every day. And for a patient, when they start to get a tremendous amount of pain in their hip, they go in to see their doctor, and their doctor may recommend they go see an orthopedic surgeon, and that orthopedic surgeon may say, you know what, we got to get surgery. We're going to do a hip replacement for you here. And as a patient, what you're thinking about is, when am I going to feel better, right? When is this pain going to go away? And once your physician lets you know that surgery is sort of the best course here, or the best option, now you understand that there's a lot you need to know and do, right? So, for instance, if I'm over 65, I've got to go see my primary care doctor and get medical clearance, and I've got to perhaps change the medications that I'm on, and I've got to start doing exercises before surgery to make sure I'm optimally prepared. And then after that surgery, I've got to get rehab, and I've got to make sure that the wound is healing appropriately. And so there's a lot there. And so with HealthLoop, when I get scheduled for that surgery, the surgeon looks at me and says, Mr. Johnson, we want to make sure that you get through this thing as best as possible and as quickly as possible, and we're going to be here to coach you every step of the way. So I'm going to be reaching out to you via email or SMS or app notifications with some important information for you to get you through this. And so you get enrolled on this HealthLoop, on this experience, which has your doctor sort of automatically reaching out to you from day to day. So I'll get an email from my doctor saying, Mr. Johnson, it's important that you check in with me today. And when I check in, I'm sort of treated to what's important today, right? Today's the day that I need to stop taking one drug and start a new one. Or today's the day that I need to start washing with a special soap to make sure I reduce my risks of infection. And then post-operatively, that doctor continues to check in with me, often on a daily basis, to say, hey, did you sleep well last night? Are you in more pain today than you were yesterday? Any redness around that incision site? And so the system is carefully monitoring my progression, giving me the right information at the right time to guide me through this, right? It's connecting me to my doctor in a way that really, as patients, we just don't have today. As patients today, we sort of get discharged and we're left up to our own devices. So it's a way to really guide patients through, in a really high-touch way, through these sort of scary moments in our lives.
You mentioned app. I mean, email's easy. You give it to your doctor, and then they put you into the system. But there's also an app for your phone?
Yeah. So just recently, Apple, when they released their latest version of iOS about 2 weeks ago, included in that what they call HealthKit, which is a new platform for consolidating your healthcare information on your iPhone. And why that's interesting for companies like HealthLoop is now we can take all sorts of additional information about you, the patient, and make that available to the doctor, or really to the system, to assess. So, for instance, we know that patients that are getting total joint procedures or joint replacements, they actually do better if they can get up and move around soon after surgery. And that might sound counterintuitive to the layperson, but doctors know that the sooner people get up and walking, the better off they do. And so now, as iPhones and jawbone-up devices and Fitbits can track our activity, data such as how many steps did I take today, or my weight, or my blood glucose levels if I'm a diabetic, all that information can be packaged into your check-in with your doctor and alert the doctor if there's something going wrong. So we now have access to this wonderful constellation of information that goes along with the patient's check-in to provide to their physician.
What is the what should people input in the App Store? The App Store if they're looking to download this.
Yeah, just look at HealthLoop. Okay. And you'll find it there. It was released with the latest version of iOS just 2 weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right, my pleasure. Let's do this. Let's take a little break now. I want to drill into the investment side of your company, 13 milestones and 14 and forward-looking goals that you've got for HealthLoop, okay?
Sounds great.
All right, we'll be right back on the other side of this break with Todd Johnson, CEO, HealthLoop, HealthLoop.com. And special thanks to Monk Media, 1-800 Public Relations, for all their PR and media support. We'll be right back.